Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to the District Parent Advisory Council's meeting for October the 11th, 2018. Today is a very special day. It's our first DPAC meeting of the year. And we also have back with us our Vice President, Ms. Betty Thomas. I'd like to have her come up and do it welcome. It's an honor to have her back with us.
Good morning. All you bright and beautiful faces, I'm so glad to see you. I'm glad to say, I'm glad to be here with you. And I'm in the school and I can't say the wrong stuff. You know what that was, what is not being said by me, but to him, I give the glory.
I know that's right. Amen.
And let us start off this year with a determination to improve every aspect of our schools, our systems, and even ourselves. I got a little time to tell you. So thank y'all and back tomorrow.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. For those of you who didn't know, Ms. Thomas had a bout with her health. But we didn't give up, and we say to God be the glory, and she's back here with us and in her right mind. So we're very thankful. At this time, I'm going to bring out Ms. Tracy Allen, who is over our security. Today's meeting is over student, staff, and security. So we thought that it would be very important to make sure that you know what's going on in the system, what our rules, regulations, and policies are. And so at this time, we're bringing you the best. Ms. Allen.
Go ahead, Miss Allen.
Well, if you don't mind, I don't want to use the microphone, so.
You guys can hear me, correct?
Yes.
All right.
But you have to record it.
Oh, okay. All right, so I'm Terry Allen, I'm Senior Director of Security. So I'm just going to give you an overview of security. For our security, we are under the umbrella of operations. In the Division of Operations, our vision statement is that we will provide exceptional customer service and support to schools in helping students to compete on a global level. Our students will enjoy a safe forum in which to learn. We will support CCSD instructional staff, deliver a world-class education using outcomes-oriented, mission-centric best practice. So that is our vision statement for operations. So what does our team look like? So this is our OSS management team. I'm Terry Allen, the Senior Director. Then we have Myra DeJesus, who is the School Safety Manager. And then we have Brian Coleman, who is the Night Watchman Supervisor. Also, we have Linda Carter, who is a duty officer and also serving as the HIV coordinator for the district. So when we think about schools, you need to take it? Do you want to take it?
Do you have a printout of this?
I can get a printout. That's no problem. So I'll make some printouts. I'll actually make a couple copies of the PowerPoint for you guys. No problem. So each school has an individualized emergency management plan that they create in the beginning of the year. Usually the OMs are responsible for submitting them to us, to the Office of Safety and Security, where we can review it. So the OM here is Carrie Grimmy. Where is Carrie? Is she in?
She was.
Well,
she stepped out.
She was. Okay. And then, so the New Jersey state law, so it is required that all schools perform at least one fire drill and one security drill a month. And when I mean about security drill, I'm talking about your lockdowns, your active shooters, your evacuations, your bomb threats. All of that we have to prepare for. So it's done, it's required by the New Jersey Department of State that we practice this. And it's so funny because in Pennsylvania, they don't have to do none of this. All they have to do is a fire drill. I reached out actually to the director over in Philly, and I said, well, hey, what are you guys doing? Is it something different? Is it something new we can do? And it's not even a requirement in Pennsylvania that they do security drills, which I found interesting, especially in light of the environment today that we live in. So that's a good thing for New Jersey. Also, when drills are performed, the Office of Safety and Security will be at drills to give them some feedback on improvement, as well as our local law enforcement. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so currently our department has 58 security officers. This is the district-wide employment plan. So Camden High has 5 security officers. Woodrow Wilson currently has 10. And our family schools normally have 2 to 3 officers. We kind of have Woodrow Wilson a larger amount of security officers at the high schools because they generally have more incidents that occur. And we want to make sure that we have enough security personnel there to handle those incidents. You may have some family schools that may have 3 officers, and we decided to put 3 there because of the incidents that have occurred in that particular school. Okay, so in the 2 comprehensive high schools, which is Camden High and Woodrow Wilson, our students go through a security check process. We have baggage X-ray scanners, walk-through metal detectors, handheld metal detectors. We're also looking to get access badging, but we do have the video earphones. And a video earphone is just simply the box outside the door where you ring and the person inside can see. Okay. So what that process might look like on a daily basis, student comes in, they would normally put their book bag on the X-ray machine, they would walk through the metal detector. If they beep, then a handheld wand will be used in order to be less intrusive. And at that point, officers, if they find any contraband or anything of that nature, it would be confiscated at the door. Yes. No, never too early for questions. Mm-hmm.
How do you determine how many officers are even in the
So it's really based on the number of incidents that happen. So those serious incidents makes me kind of like, okay, that's example. Say Davis had 50 incidents during last year, and Vets had maybe 80 serious incidents.
Describe an incident, when it's
So,
a fight or
fights, okay, so it could be a multitude of things. It could be fights, and then you might have group fights, which are extremely So it could be fights, you can have theft, you can have arson, you can have so many things that happen and occur in schools, which you have to factor that in determining the deployment of security officers. Yeah.
you were talking about the metal detector, just a second.
Yes.
Where, I don't remember seeing one in Wilson. I know that they have a table that you put backpack here, the metal detector, and they have to search the backpack.
So
So I don't know if they have slight ones here, I have been there this year.
Because they can't hear you on the camera. You want to repeat what you're saying, you can get them the mic.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the first one. How do you determine the amount of, security guards in the family school?
Again, we look at the number of serious incidents that happened that year, particularly if it was fights that occurred, or arson, theft, any kind of serious incidents. We kind of look at that information, that data, and support, and we can deploy officers that way.
You said that there were no detectors at the high school. Now, when I went through Woodrow Wilson, I noticed that there's not a metal detector. When I went there, I don't know this year, because I haven't visited the school, and they have a table, which they put a backpack and search, and the kids go through the metal detector.
So students actually come in through the cafeteria downstairs. So that is the student entry point. And then we have visitors that come in through the main, which normally have a metal detector there for visitors.
Thank you for that information.
No, I was just going to answer the questions. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you have it. All right.
Yes.
I'll wait till I still have it.
That's good.
Yes, so it's multiple areas. We have one at the main entrance and then one at the student point entrance. Yeah. Okay, so our security officers in their training. So they are CPR and first aid certified. They actually have an annual training with Handle with Care. Handle with Care is a passive restraint technique in which they use. In the past, they have used, we actually use another vendor to support teaching our security officers passive restraint techniques. We actually are our own instructors now. And Handle with Care is more of a delicate type of restraint that we use. I think this is more catered to our students and children.
Can you demonstrate the restraint?
So there are a number of different techniques
I know one.
to use.
I bet you do.
Is it with Handle with Care? Because we don't want any other.
I know how to handle with care. I know how to handle
No,
with
you
care.
know how to handle with
Yeah, I
care.
know how to handle with care.
So one technique, where you would just grab by the hand, by the wrist, and kind of guide or direct, escort a student.
And that's
Yeah.
what elementary?
Yes. Or it can, see, one thing is that what people have to understand is that when you develop rapport with students, whether they're in high school or whether they're in elementary, you got that rapport, they're gonna come.
Yeah.
They're gonna do what you ask them to do. They can be on 10 and really upset, but because I can step in and I know you, I can say, hey, calm down. It's okay. It's about building rapport, and that's what I want the officers to do, is to be able to communicate, build that rapport with students and families. See, when you know the mother, sometimes you don't have to say much to the student, because I'll say, hey, I used to do this all the time. Pull out my phone and say, you know who I'm calling? Oh yeah, I got her on speed dial, you know? And it's so funny, it's just about developing those rapports and those relationships. So you want to be able to communicate before you do any hands-on approach. Yes.
Okay.
So I have heard some of the students say that they're not allowed to touch or they're not allowed to grab them. How do you address that with the parents to make them understand it's a form of restraint with care?
Absolutely. So you can actually let parents know, hey, our officers are trained in restraining students. But we also can restrain based on making sure that they're not hurt or injured, or that they're not injuring or hurting another student or themselves. And basically, that's the only time that someone should be trying to restrain you. It's not, I think most parents need to understand that we're not trying to hurt your child. we're trying to just restrain them and stop them from whatever they're doing, where they can hurt themselves or others.
So will there be like,
Will there be any type of like, information or literacy sent out to maybe update and let the parents know
Parents,
this
right.
year that these are the things, the measures that we are, allowed to take with the students, just keeping you informed so that way it's not like, extreme measures when the parents come up and they're here, or the next day their kids go, they go home and say, Mom, this happened. Is there like a phone call and say, hey, this is what I had to do?
So far as just giving documentation out, like in the beginning of the school year, are you saying something like that? Well, that's something I think should generally come from management, central office, the executive staff to craft that. But again, it's a good idea to let me know, like,
so they're not caught off guard and,
absolutely,
not reactionary?
absolutely, I agree. Also, Global Compliance Network, and this GCN training, I think everybody knows GCN training. Our officers actually have to participate in this online training as well. And then they get 10 professional development days throughout the calendar year to support our training. Is there any other questions? Okay. So when we think about Camden County Police Department, I actually meet with them on a monthly basis about issues that are arising in the district and how we can move forward to kind of handle them together. So I do meet with the lieutenant commanders as well as the deputy chief on occasions. So what we had asked is that the police department would be at the high schools during arrival and dismissal time. It seems
Right.
these are key times in which they're needed.
I have a question.
Good morning, everyone. My question is, we at Camden High were under the impression that we would have a unit out before and after. I have yet to see one. What is going to happen in regards to that? Like, how will we get a unit up there? Because we, not so much as in the morning, but after school, we definitely need a unit outside. Just to give even the people in the community a sense of, calm and make them feel as though we're being backed up. Because our 5 security guards, honestly, at let out, can't handle 400 students.
I definitely agree. So when that issue occurs, I think that you should let me know. Call me directly so I can reach out to the command staff and say, hey, listen, nobody's out here at dismissal as we discussed. Can we get support? I know that they're kind of under, their resources are tight too. So I see a lot of them, sometimes they are at different schools, and what we have to really factor in now is that now we have a lot of other schools, in addition to Camden City's district schools, that need support too. So we hope that they could, fit us in on their tight schedule. But again, if they're not there, please let me know.
I'm going to piggyback on her question. Where the schools where they're being let out, I have seen issues, which I have pictures, I like taking pictures of situations where cars are coming in opposite, and this happened in a particular school that I go to, my kids go to college school. Instead of not parking in the area that is closed off one way, they're coming backwards and parking inside the school area where the kids are living let out to wait for their children to get out and go to wait for them.
And what school?
This is in Cap. I'll show you pictures later of the situation. And the buses cannot get out with the kids. I said leaving is blocked because they park all the way through the light. So it becomes a really bad situation. Plus the people backing up, the kids are coming down the hill, ready to hit a kid or something. And we need a unit out there for that, or a line, yellow line, people don't park there. There's not enough security to address that situation with police department and the security. And they have to have some kind of meeting to address that situation. And since you said about the security extra unit, it might be needed in that area because we can either kill the kid, get it hurt, a fight can break out between parents, and the bus drivers are coming out, the aides are coming out of the buses to tell the people you need to move or to find out where is the driver to that car. So what can we do about that?
So, I'm thinking that it's more of a traffic issue. Rather, there's no system there to pick up students, or we'll probably drop them off as well. And it seems to me that a system needs to be created. Like buses, maybe the buses is the only one that comes into the horseshoe, or maybe parents line up in the, to the adjacent street with a car. Like, so, yeah, I think it's a system, yeah. And so I'm thinking that we need to look at the traffic, develop a system, and get the police to support for a little bit until people get the hang of it. And that's what I'm thinking. So I'll talk to you more offline about
That's
that.
the homework.
That's my homework. I got homework assignments. I ain't in school no more.
I want to say
That's my homework assignment. Okay, I got you. Not a problem. Okay. So also with the police department, they are supposed to be able to patrol actively in the safe school corridors. And that's during school hours. Also, they have access to school camera systems. So what this does is that the police department can actually see our cameras in school. But they only utilize the cameras when there is an emergency, such as active shooter. Now, active shooter occurs, the police department has a view of exactly where that threat is, and they can go directly to that threat, rather than waiting to come into a building, waiting to hear the next shots fired, or trying to find someone to assist. They already have this information, and they can see where the threat is and eliminate the threat. And I think oftentimes people don't understand when active shooter, when police come during that time, they're not there to render aid to the injured. The first person on the scene must address the threat directly. I think they have learned in the past with Columbine that if they actually waited to go in. They were waiting for SWAT to go in, waiting for a couple backup or whatever, but in the meantime, you had people inside dying. So now it is the practice that first person on the scene, you have to go in. And that's a scary feeling, because I was a police officer in Philadelphia and Baltimore City. And I can recall some of those jobs, and I used to sit, did I choose the right profession? I said, why am I here? Oh my God. You have those times when it's just like, but I still had to do what I had to do. You know, I had to muster up that courage. But it is the job of police to go right into that threat and eliminate it.
I think there's a lack of communication between I'm sorry, my name is Tracy Cooper. I think there's a lack of communication between our security officers for the district and Metro. And I say that because early part of the year, a young man was shot in North Camden. Cooper's Point was never notified to do a lockdown or shutdown. We found out on Facebook that a young man was shot, and other students knew the kid that was in the area. So there is a disconnect And I think it needs to be addressed. I have talked to commanders and let them know, but I think it needs to be addressed because if there's a shooting in an area of the school, and we have kids on the playground, and we have kids getting ready to get out at dismissal, something needs to be done, and we weren't notified at all. And I'm quite sure you guys weren't notified the central office.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That'll be something on my list to talk to the commanders about. Because you're right, we should have been notified. So the school could have been placed on lockdown. You're absolutely correct. And that's something I'll definitely address. Okay, any other questions?
Right here. I can talk to you all.
So what's on the horizon? We're actually doing security assessments that will be conducted at each school. Will be outfitted with the recommended security technology and equipment to upgrade the schools to be in the 21st century. So you may notice that some schools might have access badging, some schools may have earphones, some schools may have this, some schools may have that. But what we want to do is across the district, unify our schools so that each school has the necessary security equipment that they need. And I think that's very important, that we begin to look forward, move forward into the future. So in other words, when I'm at a meeting, I like to pull out my pen and paper. Why everybody got laptops? And I'm like, Terry, you just gotta use your laptop. So I gotta push myself because when I was in school, we didn't have laptops. We didn't use all this technology, so sometimes you just gotta push forward and move forward into the future. Okay? And just to recognize my officers, we did Security Officer Appreciation Week. We actually celebrated one of our officers, Felix Bowman, who had 38 years on. We have a lot of officers that have 25, 20 years
Officer
plus
Russell.
on. Officer Russell. See, people get awesome.
lady, awesome.
Yes, she is.
Yes, she is. No, I don't do that.
I will.
Oh, no, I
Mr.
can't.
Russell is here.
Officer Russell is an awesome security guard. We love her.
She go above.
She's at Dudley now, right?
She's at Cream, y'all.
Oh, she's at
And
Cream.
Amazon.
Russell, is that,
Robin.
Robin? Oh, Robin, that's my baby.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
And so is Officer Womack
And Officer Womack, yes he
at
is.
Camden High, he's
Yes.
awesome.
Okay.
I don't know.
Will.
So is there any other questions, because that actually completes my presentation for today? Okay, if there's no more questions, thank you for being attentive audience. I appreciate you guys. All right, have a good day.
Again, let's give a round of applause for Ms. Tracy Allen.
Because they had it all.
Terry Allen, I apologize. At this time, we do have a little more time that we can do fill-ins. And I'm gonna ask our Ms. Ebony Henson just to come up and give a little information in reference to the FOCs and what's going to be going on this year and what is expected. So you as parents need to know, because the FOCs will work with you in your schools, but then you will be a part of the PAC in your school. And we want you all to be in those leadership positions, so we should be the ones who's gonna help monitor and make sure that the things that should be taking place in the district will take place. Ms. Ebony Henson has already done training for her FOC, so you really need to know as parents what they're expecting to do for you. And then through the parent training pieces, we will continue to do the things that you need to know, that we're putting those things in order. Ms. Ebony.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to the new school year. We're excited. And I just want to acknowledge first our wonderful FOCs that are in the room. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being the connector between home and school. So I would like to acknowledge them. Ms. Tracy Allen from Sharp School. Miss Rebecca Ariana from Davis School. We have Rhonda Smalls from Yorkshire School. We have Mia Anderson Cole from Camden High. We have Tracy Cooper from People's Point. Yep. We have Rachel Smalls from H.D. Wilson. We have Nilsa Cruz from right here at that. We also have, I'm going to leave him for last. We have Deneen from Forest Hill. And we have our lone gentleman, our one male FOC coming right from Kramer School. So give it up for Jose. These are your FOCs, and FOC stands for Family Operations Coordinators. And our Family Operations Coordinators are who? Oh, I didn't see her sneak in. Fatima, everybody, let's give a hand for Fatima from Canva. Creative Arts is in the house. So we are very happy to have a dynamic group of fabulous FOCs. And they are family operations coordinators. They're your connector between home and school. They are in our buildings working hard every day, trying to juggle all of their responsibilities, from possibly manning the office, answering calls sometimes, working with families. So they have a dual role. They help the school run effectively, but they also have time to talk to families and to provide programming for families. The programming that they provide is around academic achievement. How do we get our parents to really understand how to best support our students at home? So during the year, they provide academic workshops, but then they also have other workshops. They have workshops on nutrition. They have workshops on, somebody calls some of the things out that you do. Safety, literacy events. Sure.
Pardon the interruption. If whoever's driving a white Chevy minivan, or not a minivan, but a
Traverse, that's the
yeah. Which time? So I have to move it out of the way.
Okay. And FOCs.
Workshops, period. Any type of workshop done with, yeah.
Any workshops that are going to help our parents understand how to best support their students or how to support themselves.
Are we doing a financial?
Advocating.
We're doing a financial literacy class in the spring and a nutrition class for parents, because we think if it helps them at home, it'll help the child do better at school. So it's kind of like if we can help the home a little bit, then it'll help the student. So it's like an overall, collaboration.
Yes. And that approach, if we just focus on students, that is not as effective. If we just focus on parents, that is not as effective. But when we focus on developing and helping to support both of them at the same time, we call that a two-generational approach. And that's the best approach to take. How do we work with parents and students to improve what goes on at school and also what goes on at home? So look forward to some of those things. Please go to your school's website. You will see it advertise what the FOCs are doing. They also have calendars. You can also call the school, and more importantly, social media. Check, please. How many people follow their school on Facebook? Because every school has a Facebook page. How many parents have Facebook? You go on Facebook every now and then? Your school has a Facebook page. You should ask your school what is their Facebook page, and please follow. And then follow the district's Facebook page. The district has Facebook, Twitter, and I believe Instagram now. So we are really looking forward to what our FOCs have to offer. How many people, parents in here, feel like they could sit on a committee of parents that help make decisions for their school? Raise your hand. If you're willing to sit on a committee that will help, or you may already do that, that will help drive the decision making at your school. You might as well put your hand up. You're always here, right? And Ramanita's here, so we know. Everybody should take advantage of this. If you don't let your voice get heard, then we don't know what your needs are. We don't know. You are your child's first teacher, and you are the ones that know them best. So every school has what's called a parent advisory council. This is a district parent advisory council, but individual schools have what's called parent advisory councils. And our FOCs are trying to get those up and running. So find out who's my FOC, and then say I'm willing to serve on your committee, because we can't do it by ourselves. We need the parent voice, right? Some things happen. We have Ms. Sharma. You want to ask a question?
I would like to know what kind of support are we getting for the bilingual parent advisory council, for the councils in general. The FOC is going to be coming in and bringing parents. Are you going to send the parents to represent your school? We have this group. We do offer training and other things through Title I. The money is there. Hate to see it being wasted with nobody in the room. Mine in particular, I make sure that I train the parents on how to handle a situation in school when something happens with their child, not to get all the information first before they go and attack someone in school. Calmness, be ready, and listen to all the parties. So I try my best to train the parents, plus other trainings that we have, and it's in bilingual, Spanish and English.
So yes, our FOCs, they do know that there are two councils. We have our DPAC, and our bilingual parents come to DPAC. You should be coming to your DPAC meeting, but you also had something separate called the bilingual PAC, Bilingual District Parent Advisory Council. For those parents that would like to hear their meetings in Spanish, that is available. And if you're interested, Ms. Sharma is going to be here. Please speak to her, because we want to make sure all of our parents can be available to these different opportunities. So please see your FOC, join those PACs, make your voices heard. One last thing, there's another opportunity for parents within your schools. Every school has what's called an annual school planning team. That consists of the principal, teachers, but should they be the only ones making decisions about what goes on in the school? No. We need you. We need parents on that committee. We need community partners on those committees. So that is called an annual school planning team. And we do need you. Okay? Please ask about that. If you would like to be a part of that team, please ask about that. So again, I want to thank our FOCs. I applaud them for the hard work that they do every day. And if you come back, we're going to advertise a meeting where you're going to hear directly from some of our FOCs, because they even present at their schools, but we want to have them present to you and tell you in more detail what's offered at their schools. So, yes. I know that we have a question from this side here.
So the annual planning committee with the teachers and the principals, should the parents be asking, or should it be, I guess, offered? Like, let's say, we're inviting parents to, inquire about how to become part of our team, if you have suggestions or inquiries, schedule an appointment to meet with the team at such and such time, or to kind of give everyone an opportunity. Because I don't know if it's welcome in all schools.
I think that Leah can even speak to that a little bit.
So what I've done for my parents is all the events that we have at Cannon High, I'm sitting in the front. I'm the first person that they'll see when you enter Cannon High. So what I did was I made it a little fun. Like, I made a game out of it. I had them like spinning the wheel. Oh, if you join such and such, so I have a big wheel, and I gave away prizes. I made it fun, so I made it not only. I said, this is not about us. This is about you and your child. So, in order for you to have a voice, would you like to join? every parent that come in, if I can have all 400, 500 plus parents on that PAC team, I would. But I have Zarika, and I have like 7 other parents, but I know that all 7 parents won't be able to join me at all times, so they'll alternate and all of that. But I always tell them, you are your child's biggest support system outside of us. So if you sitting at the table, you can let us know what y'all need. We don't know unless you tell us. But I just did different fun activities like back to school night, back to school barbecue. I'll keep it going for a report card night because I'm always trying to recruit somebody for like DPAC or parent roundtable or PAC, or just when I'm doing like different workshops so they can come in and assist me with that. So that's how I do it.
Yes.
Yes. You're talking about the annual, the planning team. So to,
For the principal? Yes.
no, she's talking about something different. So the annual school planning team. Yes, the school should invite you. So that's your FOC, that's your school leader. It will be advertised. Some people don't have it up and running yet.
The ASP, right?
The ASP team. Some people do not have it up and running yet, but you will be invited as well. It's not that parent, you don't have the sole responsibility to seek out that opportunity. The school also will invite parents to be a part of it. Will every parent be able to be a part of the annual school planning team? Not every parent. There's going to be a selection process or first come, first serve, however a school leader determines. But please, if you don't hear about it from the school leader or anybody at the school, you can inquire about it. That was the point I was trying to make. Thank you. And I'm going to turn this back over to Ms. Wilson, our chairperson for Parental Involvement.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson. Just to let you know, we need to be able to identify and make sure that everyone understands. With the DPAC, which is District Parent Advisory Council, you have a bilingual advisory council and a special needs advisory council. Hopefully, we will soon have a gifted and talented advisory council once it's up and running, and we have parents that are a part of that. So you have Title I, which is parental involvement. Under the Title I parental involvement piece is where we need you to be the officers, the parents, to be the officers to represent your schools that you're in. So you need to talk to the parents in your PAC meetings, which is parent advisory councils in your individual schools. And we need 2 of you to represent the school district, your school and the school district. The budgets will be given out. Have they gone to the school yet? Okay. So the budgets have already gone to your individual schools. Your FOCs already have the budget. So you need to be a part of how that money in that budget is being spent. That's your responsibility as a parent to say, this is what we want to have take place in our schools, working along with your administration, your principals. So with that, I'm going to say to you, if you don't have any other questions at this time, next month's meeting for the DPAC is scheduled for, I believe, November the 11th, but that's Veterans Day. So you will get something from your FOC where you make the change of that date. And then you will also have the District Parent Advisory Council meeting so that you can get all of that information. Now, we didn't have enough time today to get the turnout. Mr. Barfield didn't get here, so we didn't have the sign-in sheets that you would normally have for your agendas. So that won't happen again. We will make sure that you get the PowerPoint presentation that was given today. Ms. Allen did not know to bring it, but through your FOCs, everyone who signed up will get a copy of the PowerPoint, because that's crucial. Just to say, this is what you can go back in your school, and then at your PAC meeting, whatever you do here, you should go back to your PAC meeting and turn to it in that school. That keeps us working together as a unit. That means that when you're giving out information You're signing in, you're receiving information to help your children and other parents within your school. And that keeps us eligible for the Title I funding that comes in from the state and the federal government. If that does not happen and that money is being spent, then that puts us in a situation where we can use the money, and we don't want that to happen. So if all hearts and minds are clear at this time, I want to say thank you to Ms. Allen, thank you Ms. Henson, and thank you Ms. Thomas. We're so glad to have you back in the midst of us. So next month, that information for your parent involvement training will be sent out, as well as the DPAC minutes. So thank you. This is Martha Wilson, Chair of Parental Involvement. You have a blessed day.
Thank you.